So one of the nice delighters that I see in a lot of applications these days is the auto conversion of two dashes in a row to an M dash. So for example, if I'm typing hello and I put two dashes like this, a lot of applications like Twitter and Slack and a bunch of other things will auto convert that double dash into an M dash, which is a wider dash often used in lieu of other punctuation like commas and parentheses and sometimes colons, make things a little bit more readable. So I wanted to see as a code kata if I could implement that for myself. So clearly in this one it doesn't work, but you'll notice that here if I do double mint, you can see that the double dash there was replaced, right? Double dash, double dash. You can see that it happens here. This is cool. Double dash. I can go back in here and add it there. Nice. And the reason that these two work and this third one doesn't work is that these two have a class on it, and I'm using some event delegation to listen for keyboard events, and I'm targeting elements that have a m-ify class, and this one doesn't have the m-ify class. So it's a cool delightер. I think I wanted to see again as a code kata if I can implement that. So let's take a look at the code. So like I said before, I'm targeting inputs that have the m-ify class, and this third one did not have the m-ify class, which is why the two dashes remain the two dashes that the user entered. So what we're going to do is bind a key down event on the document so that we can use event delegation to target these inputs at a single point in the document object model. And we go ahead and call handle key down. Now I only care about keys that are dashes. If you type anything else, I don't care. I'm just going to let that event go through the way it normally would. I also, again, only want to target elements that have the m-ify class in this particular demo, right? That's not strictly required. And if it doesn't have the m-ify class, I'm just going to return out of the event handler, let the event go through as normal, and that's why we get those double dashes in the third input there. So if we made it here, if we have the dash key and we know that we're in an m-ify event, now it's time to start working on some actual logic for replacing the double dashes with the m dash. So first I want to get the current selection start. That's the point within the greater input at which the caret or the cursor exists. So that's essentially the location in the string where the user just hit the key down. Now it's important to keep in mind that at this moment the key that they requested, in this case the dash, has not yet been added to the input value. And that's important because when we start to pick apart the string, we want to make sure that we don't try to pull in the value that the user wants. So we know that they've entered a dash at this point, so what we do is we go to the offset -1, or essentially the character right before the current caret position, and we look to see if that character is a dash. So if we know that the current user is requesting a dash and the character right before it is also a dash, then we have that double dash behavior, and that's where we want to convert it to an m dash. So what we're going to do is prevent the default behavior of the key down event, and that'll prevent the dash from being rendered in the input. It'll also prevent, I believe, the key up event as well. And now we're going to go ahead and slice apart the existing value of the string. So we want to go from the beginning of the string to right before the existing dash. Then we want to take everything after the existing dash. So essentially we're taking the prefix and postfix surrounding that dash, and then we're going to combine it all together, but instead of combining with a dash, we're going to combine it with an m dash. So we're breaking apart the string, stripping out the single dash, adding in the m dash, and then wrapping it in the existing values. Now when you set an input value programmatically, typically what happens is the cursor or the caret jumps to the very end of the string. So in order to prevent that from happening, in order to keep the cursor right after the injected m dash, we have to go ahead and programmatically set the selection start and selection end to be that offset, which again was going to be the point at which the user was currently typing. Now we don't have to do like offset +1, because if you remember here, we're slicing out the offset -1 character and replacing it with an m dash. So we actually, the selection is the same as it was before the user hit the key down to request the dash in the first place. And that's all there is to it. It's not super complicated. In this particular implementation, I'm only worrying about replacing the double dashes with the m dash. In other platforms like medium, they actually prevent spaces from being around the em dash. Traditionally, an em dash or an en dash is not surrounded by spaces, so they're trying to enforce that. But that's not a hard and fast rule. Apparently, newspapers will oftentimes include spacing around their em and en dashes. So I leave that as an exercise and measure for the user in how they want to use it. This is simply facilitating the inclusion of em dashes based on the double dash. And again, just a fun little delighter that I see in applications these days. Now, there is a way to hit em dash on your keyboard, at least on my keyboard. I have a Microsoft keyboard, ergonomic, it's awesome. It's the Sculpt. But if you do Shift-Alt-Dash on that keyboard, you can see it enters an em dash. I believe the Alt on the Microsoft keyboard is actually the Option key on the Mac, so it would be Shift-Option dash to do the em dash with natural keys, but nobody wants to have to type that while they're typing a sentence. So again, having the double dash get auto converted to an em dash, I think, is really quite a nice delighter and is a great tool for building a better user experience.